Stop pretending that your thoughts don't matter. Stop hoping the world will get easier or that luck will step in and hand you happiness on a silver platter. Right now, if you are not actively shaping your mind is shaping you. And if you don't deliberately direct it, it will drive you to mediocrity, disappointment, and endless excuses. Most people wander through life never realizing the iron law at play. Every result in your world is a mirror of the thoughts you permit to take up residence in your mind. You cannot escape this. You can only use it or be used by it. You are not reading this for comfort. You are reading because you want more strength, more control, more success, more joy. Understand this. The world will keep throwing you chaos, setbacks, and hardship. That's not going to change. What must change is your mind's relationship to adversity. Those who achieve anything remarkable never do so because their lives were easier. They do so because their minds were trained to turn setbacks into lessons and obstacles into springboards. You must accept this fact. Positivity is not the naive denial of hardship. It is a conscious daily battle against the default current of negativity that infects the average mind. Most people coast on autopilot, letting the external world dictate their internal state. If the weather is gray, so are their moods. If someone insults them, their confidence collapses. They have no inner center, no core belief so strong, so cultivated, that nothing from outside can shake them. Decide now that you will be different. Decide that you will engineer your mindset so powerfully that it becomes your greatest ally in any circumstance. Begin with this rule. Whatever you focus on grows. Your attention is your most valuable currency. If you direct it toward problems, complaints, or blame, you become an expert in frustration and misery. But if you discipline your mind to search for opportunity, to extract the seed of benefit from every difficulty, you become unstoppable. Understand, this is not an event, it is a process. You do not train your mind once and declare victory. It is a discipline, a way of life. To win this war within, you must become hyper-aware of your own inner dialogue. Most negative thinking is so habitual, it slips by undetected, quietly sabotaging your best intentions. You need to become a detective, constantly catching yourself in the act. Every time your mind serves up fear, self-doubt, or bitterness, you must interrupt it. Say out loud, "This is not who I am." Do not give negative thoughts the luxury of silence. They thrive in darkness. Expose them to the light of your conscious will. But catching negativity is only step one. The true power comes from immediate replacement. The mind abhors a vacuum. If you pull a weed, plant a flower, every time you notice a negative thought, challenge it with a question. How can I use this? What can I learn here? What is the best move I can make right now? This forces your brain to hunt for solutions, not problems. With repetition, this habit creates a mental reflex. You begin to see opportunity where others see defeat, and calm where others see chaos. None of this works if your environment is toxic. You must ruthlessly control what you allow into your mind. This includes the company you keep, the information you consume, and the voices you listen to. If you sit among critics, complainers, and cynics, their mental poison will infect you. If you pass through endless bad news and arguments, you feed your mind poison. Protect your mental diet as fiercely as you would your physical diet. Read books that challenge and uplift. Listen to mentors who have walked the path. Place yourself among the driven, the optimistic, the determined. Your mind becomes the average of the 5 loudest voices you allow in. Ritual is your secret weapon. Most people live reactively, letting the day happen to them. That is not how you build a positive mind. Every morning, Start with an intention. Affirm your values. Visualize how you want to show up, what kind of energy, what kind of strength, what kind of perspective you will bring to the day. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Then, when you encounter difficulty, you already know your script. You respond with the mindset you've trained, not the panic or anger that used to rule you. It is not enough to think positive thoughts in isolation. You must link them to bold action. Positivity without action is delusion. Action without positivity is drudgery. When you set your mind to the solution, move your body in alignment. Do not hesitate. Do not wait for the perfect moment. It will never arrive. Success belongs to those who train their minds to stay positive and back that positivity with relentless forward motion. Watch your language, because it shapes your belief. Eliminate the words, I can't, it's too hard, I never catch a break from your vocabulary. Every word you say programs your subconscious. Instead, speak as the person you intend to become. Say, I am resourceful, I overcome obstacles, I am getting stronger. Speak this way until you believe it, and then keep going until others believe it too. Gratitude is the quickest antidote to negativity. It's impossible to be resentful and grateful at the same time. Every evening, write down 3 things you did well, 3 things you learned, and 3 things you're grateful for. This ritual rewires your mind to scan for progress and blessings instead of flaws and setbacks. Over time, you become one of those rare individuals who radiate positivity even when storms rage all around. Prepare for resistance. Your old habits, the people around you, even your environment will try to drag you back to average. This is a lifelong campaign, not a weekend project. The world rewards those who persist, who refuse to yield their inner state to circumstances. Decide every day that you will be that person. Decide that nothing outside of you is stronger than what is inside you. It's time to stop waiting for your mood to change, for luck to show up, or for circumstances to bend in your favor. Take full responsibility for your mind. Treat every difficulty as a test, every obstacle as an opportunity, every setback as a lesson. This is how leaders are made. This is how wealth is built, not just in money, but in the richness of a mind that cannot be conquered. Your greatest asset is your mind. Train it daily. Challenge it relentlessly. Speak to it with authority. Shape it with discipline. Refuse to settle for the thoughts that hold you back. If you do this, you will develop an internal power that no circumstance, no person, no hardship can ever break. This is the mental foundation of every triumph in history. The battle begins each morning and is won with every choice, every thought, every word, every action. Make your mind your greatest ally, and you will find that you are unstoppable, not because the world is easy, but because you have become unbreakable. Let us proceed with directness and absolute clarity, for your results demand it. The person who succeeds in any arena of life does not possess a magical mind that feels good all the time. Rather, they have forged a mind that works for them, not against them, especially when circumstances seem most uncooperative. If you want to train your mind to stay positive, you must abandon all fantasies about passive ease and become a craftsman, relentlessly shaping your inner world as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. Start by facing the greatest barrier to a positive mind: the lazy acceptance of your own thoughts as facts. The average person wakes up, checks their mail, reacts to the latest bad news or criticism, and spends the day emotionally tossed about by the external world. They are slaves to whatever thought or feeling happens to drift by. But you are not average. To rise above mediocrity, you must realize that thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions. Some are useful, Most are not. You are under no obligation to believe every negative, fearful, or self-doubting idea that enters your mind. The moment you recognize this, you become powerful. The power is not in controlling every thought, but in choosing which thoughts to engage, which to dismiss, and which to amplify with your attention and action. Discipline is the foundation of this transformation. A positive mind is not a gift, but the result of disciplined choices made hour after hour, especially when no one is watching and when it seems to matter least. This is where most people fail. They wait for motivation to appear. They wait for the right mood, the right time. But the mind responds not to wishes, but to routine. Build a daily ritual that cleanses your mind the way you would wash your body. Every morning, before the world has a chance to intrude, sit in silence and examine your thoughts. Which ones empower you? Which ones drain you? Consciously select the thoughts you wish to cultivate. Write them down if you must. Repeat them aloud. The world may scoff at such simple acts, but make no mistake. This is the unseen discipline that builds invisible armor around your mind. Next, make a habit of deliberate mental rehearsal. High achievers in every field use this technique, often unconsciously, to program their minds for success. Before every challenge, a meeting, a difficult conversation, a critical decision, pause, picture yourself handling it with composure, clarity, and confidence. See yourself responding to adversity not with panic but with poise, not with anger but with insight. The brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. Every time you rehearse positivity, you train your neural pathways to expect it, making it your default state over time. Understand that a positive mind is not achieved by denying pain, but by mastering response. If you want to see what your mind is made of, observe yourself when things go wrong. Most people collapse, complain, or retreat into blame. The successful individual does the opposite. They accept what cannot be changed, extract every lesson from the setback, and redirect their focus toward constructive action. When you face an obstacle, ask yourself, what is one small action I can take right now? This shifts your mind from helplessness to possibility, from complaint to control. Environment is the soil in which your thoughts grow. If you plant positive intentions in toxic ground, they wither. Take a ruthless inventory of your environment. Who do you spend time with? What conversations do you allow yourself to be drawn into? What information do you consume first thing in the morning and last thing at night? The mind is a sponge. It absorbs the energy, attitudes, and beliefs of your surroundings. If you wish to stay positive, engineer your environment to support you. Distance yourself from chronic complainers, cynics, and naysayers. Flood your mind with material that uplifts, educates, and inspires. Place reminders of your goals and values where you see them daily, on your bathroom mirror, your phone background, your workspace. These cues anchor your mind, making positivity not just a fleeting mood, but your baseline. You must also learn to detach from external validation. The person who lives for approval is a prisoner of other people's moods and opinions. If your positivity depends on being liked, praised, or understood, it is weak, at the mercy of forces you cannot control. The strongest minds are those whose self-worth is anchored in their own principles, their own progress, and their own relentless commitment to growth. Praise is pleasant, but it is not nourishment. Criticism stings. But it cannot wound the mind that has trained itself to extract value from all feedback, positive or negative. Cultivate the habit of immediate refocus. The average mind is sticky. It lingers on what went wrong, replaying mistakes, slights, or rejections for hours or even days. This is wasted life. The trained mind acknowledges what happened, learns what it must, and then immediately turns attention to the next step forward. When negative emotions arise, and they will, do not indulge them. Move your body. Change your posture. Take a walk. Do something, anything, to break the emotional spell. The brain follows the body. A slumped posture, a sigh, a slow shuffle reinforce the spiral of negativity. Stand tall. Breathe deeply. Act as if you are strong, and soon you will feel it. Your language is your mind's operating system. Refuse to indulge in the language of defeat. Eliminate. I can't. That's just my luck. Nothing ever works for me. From your speech and your thoughts, replace them with, I am learning, I am improving, I always find a way. This is not empty affirmation, it is programming. What you say, you become. What you repeat, you believe. And what you believe, you enact. Gratitude is not a cliche, but a weapon. If you want your mind to stay positive, train it to hunt for the good in every circumstance. No matter how small, there is always something to appreciate. A lesson learned, a connection made, an insight gained. Begin and end each day with gratitude. Write it, say it, share it. Over time, gratitude becomes your automatic response to life, dissolving resentment and envy, and turning every experience into a source of fuel. Finally, recognize that the mind is a muscle. Just as the body grows stronger with resistance, so does the mind. Do not wish for an easy life. Wish for a mind strong enough to thrive regardless of difficulty. Seek out challenges. Set ambitious goals. Place yourself deliberately in situations that stretch your comfort and demand the best from you. With every trial overcome, your confidence grows. With every adversity faced, your resilience multiplies. Do not mistake positivity for passivity. The positive mind is the most dangerous weapon in the world because it refuses to be broken, refuses to accept limitation, and finds a way through, over, or around every barrier. This is the mind that forges destiny, that attracts opportunity, and that turns setbacks into stepping stones. Every day is your proving ground. With every thought, every word, every action, you are building the architecture of your future. Choose wisely. Choose discipline over default. Choose action over hesitation. Choose the inner game over the blame game. Train your mind to stay positive in any situation, and you will discover that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but the creator of them. True mastery of the mind does not occur when all conditions are favorable, but when chaos, disappointment, and opposition strike without warning. Most men and women will labor their entire lives wishing for circumstances to change, for their luck to improve, for external forces to finally favor their ambitions. But the person who learns to train their mind, who molds it with the intensity and discipline of a craftsman shaping steel, understands that the only control they truly possess lies within. That is the first and final truth of a positive mindset. It is your property to be shaped or squandered, regardless of the world outside your door. Let us dissect the anatomy of positivity, for it is not mere hopefulness or blind optimism. It is, above all else, an act of will. The disciplined mind does not run from negativity, nor does it cover its ears in the face of life's storms. It meets difficulty head-on, surveys it coolly, and says, "What must I do to master this?" This is not a denial of adversity, but a challenge to rise above it. Those who train their minds to stay positive in any situation do not ignore the facts, but they refuse to give the facts the final word. You must understand that thought is energy, real, potent, creative energy. Every dominant thought you permit to occupy your mind attracts circumstances that align with its frequency. If your mind is ruled by complaints, doubts, and resentments, your life will reflect those conditions, drawing more of the same into your orbit. But when you direct your mind toward constructive solutions, gratitude, and an unwavering sense of purpose, you become a magnet for progress, for opportunity, for a higher quality of life. The average man lives at the mercy of his moods. He allows the weather, the headlines, the attitudes of those around him, and the slights of daily living to color his thinking. His mind is like a leaf tossed by the wind. He may intend one thing in the morning, but by afternoon he has been swayed, discouraged, or distracted into inertia. You cannot afford to be this man. You must become the master of your moods, not their victim. This requires self-awareness and the courage to call out your mind when it betrays you with negativity or lethargy. When a negative thought enters, confront it immediately. Is this true? Is this useful? Does it move me toward or away from my vision? If the answer is no, you must expel it as a thief caught in the act. Cultivate an internal dialogue that is as unyielding as it is encouraging. Most people berate themselves for every mistake, magnify every weakness, and downplay every strength. This internal critic is a parasite. You must replace it with a voice of reason, discipline, and persistent encouragement. Speak to yourself as you would to a partner you rely on, direct, honest, and supportive. When setbacks occur, and they always do not fall into self-pity. Analyze the facts, extract the lesson, and affirm your ability to adapt and overcome. Repetition of this process creates an ironclad habit, one that cannot be shaken by the shifting winds of circumstance. Guard against the mental poison of comparison. In the age of endless information, you are bombarded with images of other people's triumphs, often filtered and exaggerated. If you allow your mind to dwell on what others have, your own journey will seem inadequate by comparison. This is a recipe for bitterness and resignation. The only comparison that matters is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Train your mind to compete with your former self, to extract more value, to think more powerfully, to act more boldly. This discipline keeps your focus inward, where true progress is made. There is no escaping the fact that positivity is a byproduct of consistent, meaningful action. It is not enough to think good thoughts and say good words. The mind craves movement, achievement, and momentum. Each small victory, however insignificant it may seem, builds the foundation for a positive attitude. Do not wait for a grand breakthrough. Make your bed with intention. Finish the task you have been avoiding. Keep your promise to yourself. Every action, when completed with pride and awareness, is a brick in the fortress of your self-belief. One of the most powerful ways to train your mind to stay positive is to reinterpret adversity as fuel for growth. When you are criticized, do not recoil or strike back. Instead, sift the criticism for any truth that can help you improve. When you fail, do not curse your luck. Analyze what went wrong, identify what you would do differently, and treat each failure as tuition paid for the education of your success. Those who rise to greatness are not those who avoid setbacks, but those who transmute them into stepping stones. You must also learn to regulate your physical state, for mind and body are inseparable. Fatigue, poor posture, lack of movement, and inadequate nutrition all breed negativity. The mind, when housed in a neglected body, cannot perform at its peak. Treat your body as an asset, not an afterthought. Move regularly, stand tall, breathe deeply. Feed yourself foods that build energy, not rob it. The stronger your body, the more readily your mind will default to positivity. Surround yourself with evidence of your capacity to overcome. Keep a record of your victories, both large and small. When doubt creeps in, review this evidence as a lawyer would review a winning case. Remind yourself, I have prevailed before. I will prevail again. Memory is a tool. Use it to strengthen, not weaken, your resolve. Finally, refuse to cede your mind to outside influences. Guard your inputs with vigilance. Do not let gossip, news cycles, or pessimistic voices set the tone for your thinking. Be intentional about what you read, what you watch, and who you engage with. Seek out the company of those who lift you, challenge you, and believe in your potential, even when you forget it yourself. The mind you want, the mind that stays positive in any situation, must be built day by day, decision by decision. It will not happen by accident nor by occasional effort. It is the sum total of disciplined choices repeated until they become second nature. Each morning you awaken at a crossroads. You can give your power to circumstance, or you can claim it for yourself. The world will offer you countless reasons to falter, to complain, to give up. Do not accept them. Counter every excuse with a plan, every complaint with action, every setback with renewed determination. In this way, your mind becomes not just a sanctuary, but a weapon, a relentless force for your own advancement. Stay vigilant. Stay intentional. Every time you consciously direct your thoughts toward the positive, you tip the scales of your destiny in your favor. Your future is built not in grand gestures, but in the smallest, most private acts of mental discipline. Understand this without delay. The power to shape your destiny is won or lost in the 6 inches between your ears. Every day, without exception, you are locked in a battle for control of your attention and emotions. The world will try to break your focus. Life's setbacks will tempt you to surrender to bitterness, apathy, or defeat. Most people become slaves to these influences. They allow the mind to become a dumping ground for every disappointment and irritation. But if you are to rise above the average and claim the rewards reserved for the few, you must discipline your thinking as a general disciplines his army, without hesitation or compromise. Negativity is the default setting of the untrained mind. The undirected mind fixates on threats, fears, failures, and slights because it is easier to drift in the current of pessimism than to paddle deliberately toward purpose. If you want to live a life of consequence, you must resist this drift with everything you have. The secret to mastering this is to become the architect of your mental environment, not a passive occupant. Deliberately construct your day to reinforce positive thinking and ruthlessly eliminate the sources of unnecessary negativity. Start with the morning. Most people begin the day by absorbing the chaos of the outside world. Instead, claim the first 30 minutes of your morning as a sacred time to direct your mind. Before the day's demands rush in, sit quietly and breathe deeply. Review your most important goal and ask yourself, how can I move closer to it today? Visualize yourself meeting challenges with calm and confidence. Speak aloud the principles you want to live by: discipline, gratitude, courage, persistence. These rituals are not superstitions. They are mental conditioning, as vital as training the body before a competition. Guard your time and your thoughts. Do not engage in idle conversation that leads nowhere or feeds the habit of complaint. Refuse to dwell on grievances, past injuries, or imagined slights. Train yourself to pivot instantly from destructive thoughts to constructive ones. The moment you catch yourself ruminating on what you lack, shift to what you can create. If you find yourself worrying about what might go wrong, ask yourself what you will do when you succeed. The mind follows the path you lay before it. Choose the direction with intention. You must also take command of your emotional responses. Most people believe their moods are caused by events, by other people, by fate itself. This is an illusion. Events are neutral. It is your interpretation of them that determines your emotional state. A flat tire is an inconvenience to one man, a catastrophe to another, and a minor challenge to a third. Which will you be? The individual who masters his emotions does so by pausing between stimulus and response. When something displeases you, do not react immediately. Breathe. Observe your reaction. Then, consciously choose the response that serves your highest vision, not your lowest impulse. Do not be misled. This is not a matter of suppressing emotion, but of channeling it. Anger, frustration, disappointment, these are energies that, if mismanaged, poison the mind. But when you harness them as fuel for positive action, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. Ask yourself, how can I use this feeling to propel myself forward? Over time, you will find that the emotions which once sabotaged your progress become tools in your arsenal. Create a set of standards for your thinking. Decide once and for all that you will not tolerate certain patterns, self-pity, envy, cynicism, defeatism. When these thoughts attempt to take up residence, confront them with the full force of your awareness. Ask, does this thought bring me closer to the life I want or further away? If it does not serve you, dismiss it as you would a persistent solicitor at your door. Your mind is your home. You choose who enters and who is turned away. Another crucial discipline is the practice of gratitude. This is not a soft sentiment, but a weapon against discouragement. Each day, take stock of what is good, strong, and promising in your life. Write it down. Speak it aloud. When challenges come, and they will, deliberately direct your mind to what remains in your favor. Gratitude is a lens. It clarifies your vision and exposes possibilities hidden from the complaining mind. It does not deny difficulty, but it denies difficulty the power to defeat you. You must also cultivate resilience. The person who stays positive in any situation has, above all, the habit of rising each time they are knocked down. Resilience is not inborn. It is built by confronting adversity, learning its lessons, and returning to your purpose stronger than before. Each failure is a signal, either a call to correct your approach or a test of your commitment. When you view setbacks as part of your training, they lose their power to discourage. Instead, they become markers on the road to mastery. Avoid the contagion of negativity. The people you surround yourself with shape the atmosphere in which your mind develops. If your circle is full of doubters, complainers, or victims, their energy will infect your own. Seek out those who challenge you to think bigger, act bolder, and expect more from yourself. Engage in conversations that are rich in solutions, not problems. When you must deal with negative individuals, refuse to be drawn into their vortex. Listen if you must, but do not allow their words to color your thinking. Let us not overlook the physical foundation of positive thinking. A mind housed in a weak, neglected, or unhealthy body cannot maintain high spirits. Move your body every day, even if only for a short time. Nourish yourself with food that supports clarity and energy. Prioritize rest, for fatigue breeds pessimism and irritability. When you care for your body, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of health, happiness, and achievement. Make it your daily practice to seek out new knowledge. The mind that is stagnant becomes a breeding ground for doubt and fear. Read books that inspire action. Study lives of those who have overcome. Attend lectures and expose yourself to ideas that expand your perspective. Learning is not only about acquiring facts, but about reinforcing the mindset that growth is always possible. Remember, a positive mind is not blind to reality, but it refuses to be defined by it. It recognizes danger, but focuses on solutions. It acknowledges limitation, but seeks out opportunity. It sees setbacks not as reasons to quit, but as invitations to adapt and advance. You do not have to be perfect to think positively. You must only be persistent. Train your mind to look for evidence of your own progress. Keep a journal of your achievements, no matter how minor. Review it often. Let it remind you that growth is real and possible, especially when doubt creeps in. Build a habit of celebrating effort as much as outcome, for it is effort that keeps the wheels of progress turning. Finally, commit to relentless self-examination. The positive mind is not a static state, but a living discipline. Set aside time each week to reflect. Where did you allow negativity to intrude? What triggers pulled you off course? How quickly did you recover? Make adjustments. Reaffirm your standards. Renew your commitment. Over time, you will find that positivity becomes less a battle and more a way of being. There are no shortcuts. No one else can do this work for you. The rewards are reserved for the few who persist, who refuse to let circumstance write the story of their lives. Stand guard at the gate of your mind. Welcome only that which builds, empowers, and sustains your progress. Train your mind daily, and you will find that you are able not only to endure adversity, but to thrive in the midst of it. The world belongs to those who refuse to be conquered by their own thoughts. You have seen that positivity is not a trick of the mind or a fleeting emotion that vanishes when adversity strikes. It is a practiced discipline, an iron-willed choice repeated so often that it becomes your character. But many who set out on the journey of positive thinking fall into one of two traps. Either they believe positivity is mere wishful thinking, or they think it means denying the harsh realities of life. If you have listened this far, you know better. True positivity is a deliberate, practical force. It transforms how you respond to difficulty, how you lead others, how you shape your environment, and how you attract opportunity. To deepen your mastery, you must move beyond the personal and begin to recognize the impact your thinking has on the world around you. Every individual who disciplines their mind becomes a beacon, consciously or unconsciously influencing others. Your words, your body language, your very presence radiate either possibility or defeat. When you walk into a room, you bring an atmosphere with you, one that either uplifts or depresses. Therefore, one of the highest applications of mental discipline is this: train your mind not only for your own advancement, but for the benefit of all those within your sphere of influence. This starts with your language. Words are more than sounds, they are containers of power. The disciplined mind refuses to utter words of defeat, complaint, or self-pity. It does not gossip, because it recognizes that speaking ill of others is a confession of one's own insecurity. Instead, make it your habit to speak possibilities, solutions, encouragement. When you encounter a problem, do not dwell on what cannot be done. Instead, say, what is the next step? What can we learn? How can this be turned to our advantage? You will notice that people are drawn to those who carry such energy, because everyone secretly longs to believe that things can and will improve. But mental discipline goes beyond speech. It is revealed in your actions, especially in moments when circumstances appear bleak. Most people wait for motivation to act, not realizing that action is the seed from which motivation grows. If you want to remain positive in difficult times, discipline yourself to move forward, however small the step. When doubt clouds your vision, write a single page, make a single call, organize a single drawer. This movement signals to your subconscious mind that you are not defeated, that you are still the captain of your fate. Consistency in small actions is the foundation upon which positive habits are built. Understand that in any environment, at work, at home, in social circles, negativity spreads like wildfire if left unchecked. The mind that is not trained becomes a sponge, absorbing complaints, fears, and anger from those around it. Your discipline must therefore include an ability to neutralize negative energy and, when possible, convert it into productive force. When someone brings you bad news, listen calmly, acknowledge their struggle, but do not adopt their despair. Ask questions that shift the focus toward solutions. Model a calm, constructive response. You will not only protect your own mind, you will lift the spirits of others, often without a word. Now, let's be absolutely clear. Training your mind to stay positive does not mean you ignore problems or pretend pain does not exist. On the contrary, the positive mind faces facts more directly than the negative one because it is not paralyzed by fear. Where others run from difficulty, you must learn to look it in the eye. Write down the problem. Break it into pieces. Identify what you can influence and what you must accept. This clarity is itself an act of power, for most people remain in a fog of confusion and anxiety. The moment you define reality without panic, you gain the upper hand. Consider, for a moment, the story of the oak tree. When storms rage, the weak branches snap, but the roots, deep in the ground, hold fast. The tree bends, but it does not break. Your mind is that tree. The deeper your roots, your principles, your faith in yourself, your practiced optimism, the less you are shaken by circumstance. Build these roots by reflecting daily on what truly matters to you. Affirm your values. Rehearse in your mind how you will respond when life tests you. The time to strengthen the roots is before the storm arrives. The most resilient minds are not those who have avoided pain, but those who have learned to grow through it. View every adversity as a hidden blessing, a training ground for the virtues you claim to value: courage, patience, creativity, humility. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" discipline yourself to ask, "How can I become better because of this?" This subtle shift turns every setback into a source of new power. You must also recognize the role of imagination in positive thinking. The mind left adrift in the present quickly becomes overwhelmed by what is lacking or imperfect. But when you train your mind to visualize the future you desire, you create a magnet that draws you forward. Each day, set aside 5 minutes to close your eyes and see yourself acting with confidence, speaking with authority, living with purpose. Do not just wish for success. See yourself inhabiting it. Feel the emotions as if they were already true. This is not self-deception, it is rehearsal. Every great achievement was first imagined in the mind before it was realized in the world. Let us address another enemy of positivity: the fear of failure. Most people are terrified to act because they believe that failure is final, a mark of incompetence. In truth, failure is a teacher, sometimes the only one bold enough to tell you the truth you need to hear. Discipline your mind to see failure as feedback. When you fall short, analyze what happened, make the necessary adjustment, and move forward. The person who refuses to be defined by failure becomes unstoppable. Each defeat is fuel for greater determination. There is also the trap of comparison. Nothing destroys positivity faster than measuring your progress against others. You must understand, your journey is unique. The only legitimate comparison is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Keep a private scorecard of your own growth. If you must compete, compete with your former self. Let other successes inspire you, but never allow them to diminish your pride in your own progress. As you grow in mental discipline, you will encounter resistance, not only from within, but from others. The world resents those who rise above mediocrity because it exposes the excuses of the average. People may criticize you, mock your optimism, try to pull you back into the circle of complaint. Expect this. Smile inwardly, for their resistance is proof that you are breaking free from the gravitational pull of the ordinary. Never argue with cynics. Instead, let your results be your response. Finally, remember that mental discipline is not a destination, but a lifelong journey. Every day presents a new test, a new chance to reinforce your resolve. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. Forgive yourself quickly when you fall short, and recommit to your practice. Over time, what once required great effort will become your second nature. Positivity will be the air you breathe, the ground you walk on, the force that carries you forward no matter what storms rage around you. When you reach the end of this journey to train your mind for positivity, the lesson you must ingrain deeper than any other is this. The mind, once disciplined, becomes your greatest ally, your surest friend, and your most relentless protector. The fruits of mental discipline are not random, they are inevitable. Success in any sphere, wealth, relationships, health, peace, begins as a seed planted and nurtured in the soil of your own thoughts. If you want your life to bear fruit, you must become the vigilant gardener, pulling weeds, nourishing the roots, and guarding the boundaries of your inner world from pests and storms. You must understand now, without a shadow of a doubt, that there will never be a time when negativity is entirely absent from your life. No matter how advanced your thinking, how high your achievements, how many hours you devote to self-improvement, you are still a human being, and the mind will always be tested. Circumstances will still change unexpectedly. People will disappoint. Your own habits will sometimes betray you, and setbacks will come unannounced. But the mark of the truly positive individual is not that they are untouched by adversity. It is that they have trained themselves to respond with mastery, not misery. They recognize the difference between a feeling and a fact, a mood and a mindset, a moment and a destiny. This mastery is found in vigilance. Vigilance means watching the doors of your mind as a guard watches the gates of a palace. If you let just anyone in, every fear, every rumor, every complaint, every suggestion of failure, you invite chaos to reign in your mental kingdom. But when you become selective, allowing only thoughts that serve your purpose to remain, you create an environment where growth is inevitable. Each day, pay attention to your first waking thought. It sets the tone for the hours to follow. If it is anxious, intercept it and replace it with a statement of intention. Today I choose optimism. Today I lead with calm. Today I act with power. Repeat it until your mind accepts it as truth. Habits are the bricks and mortar of positivity. A single positive act is a spark. A consistent pattern is a bonfire. Construct a morning ritual that signals to your subconscious that you are in command. This can be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for, visualizing a goal for 5 minutes, or repeating an affirmation. Do not underestimate the compounding power of these small acts. Over weeks and months, they rewire your mind. They become the lens through which you view every challenge. Equally important is the discipline to end each day with reflection. Ask yourself, how did I respond to setbacks? Where did I let fear dictate my actions? When did I choose faith instead of doubt? This is not self-criticism, it is self-guidance. The mind, like any instrument, must be tuned. Reflection polishes away the noise so you can hear the music of your own progress. Over time, this habit builds resilience because you see for yourself that you are stronger and wiser today than yesterday. Now, let us address a truth many shy away from. You become like those you associate with. If you spend your hours with complainers, doubters, and pessimists, your own positivity will be drained, no matter how strong you are. If you surround yourself with those who believe in possibility, who celebrate your growth, who inspire you by example, your own standard will rise. Sometimes, the greatest act of positivity is choosing who has access to your time and attention. Be ruthless about this. Guard your circle as fiercely as you guard your thoughts. But do not confuse discipline with isolation. The most positive minds are not those who shut out the world, but those who engage with it on their own terms. Share your optimism. Be the source of encouragement that others seek out. Offer solutions when others see only problems. Praise effort, celebrate progress, forgive mistakes. In doing so, you reinforce your own mental training and build an environment that nurtures success for everyone. Remember, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. Understand, too, the power of the spoken word. You will be tempted, especially under stress, to let slip complaints or criticisms. Resist this urge. The tongue, once trained, becomes a tool for creation, not destruction. Before you speak, ask, does this word build or does it break? Does it open possibility or close it? Choose your language with care. Speak as if every sentence were a blueprint for your future, because it is. The mind, once disciplined for positivity, becomes a magnet for solutions. Problems that once seemed insurmountable are now puzzles to be solved. Where others see closed doors, you see windows. Where others see risk, you see opportunity. This is not magic, but the result of relentless training. You have taught your mind to look for what can be done, not what cannot. You see, what is possible, not just what is present, but beware the subtle traps that remain even for the advanced student. One such trap is complacency. The moment you believe you have mastered your mind, the moment you cease your daily discipline, the weeds of doubt and negativity will begin to creep in again. Success is a moving target. You must continue to stretch, to grow, to challenge your old beliefs. Set new goals. Seek new mentors. Read, reflect, refine your vision. The path to positive mastery is lifelong. Another danger is the illusion that positivity alone will solve all problems. Positivity must be paired with action. It is not enough to wish for a better future. You must act in alignment with your best thoughts. Use your optimism as fuel for discipline. Make the call. Have the conversation. Launch the project. Take the risk. The universe responds to those who move, not just those who hope. Your mind, now trained to stay positive in any situation, becomes your greatest asset in a world that will forever test your limits. The world is not always fair. People are not always kind. Circumstances are not always in your favor. But none of that can dictate the way you think, the way you respond, or the way you choose to move forward. The only limits that exist are the ones you allow to remain in your mind. Do not mistake this as a call to ignore pain or deny reality. On the contrary, the most powerful form of positivity is the one that looks directly at hardship and says, I will overcome. I will adapt. I will grow. When you acknowledge your fears, your losses, your setbacks, and still choose to move forward, you become indestructible. Pain becomes purpose, loss becomes learning, and adversity becomes your greatest teacher. You have learned that the practice of positivity is not a single act, but a system. It is a way of living that demands consistency, intention, and vigilance. Every thought is a choice. Every word is a declaration. Every action is a testament to the standard you hold for your life. You will falter, everyone does. But the discipline is not in never failing. It is in never giving up on yourself, in rising again, in recommitting every single day. Let this be your creed. No matter the situation, no matter the difficulty, no matter the darkness, you will choose the thought, the word, and the action that leads toward the light. You will train your mind not just to endure, but to conquer. Not just to hope, but to create. Not just to wish, but to become. You are now the master of your mind, and as such, the master of your destiny. Success does not escape the one who disciplines their thinking. It gravitates toward them, compelled by the magnetic force of an unbreakable spirit. The world does not reward those who wait for better days. It rewards those who create them. One positive thought, one deliberate action, one unwavering belief at a time. Your training is never over, but you are never powerless. You have in your possession the greatest tool known to humanity, the mind. Sharpen it. Guard it. Use it to build the life you desire, and nothing will be impossible for you. This is the way of those who achieve greatness, and now it is your way as well.